Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to another study on the subject of prayer. We're thinking about the aspect of prayer known as supplication. The S in the acronym ACTS: adoration, confession, thanksgiving, supplication. And yesterday we were focusing on praying for ourselves and the sort of things that we ought to pray with regards to our own needs. Today, we're going to begin to think about praying for others. Who should we pray for? Or for whom should we pray? I would suggest to you that we ought to pray for our families. That's one of the things that we ought to prioritise in prayer. All of us live in families. Some of us, for example, are married and have children. And in those circumstances, it is right and proper for us to pray for our spouse and to pray for our children. It may be that you're married to a man or to a woman who is not yet a Christian. You should be diligent in praying that God would work in their lives to bring them to the point where they are concerned about their spiritual status. That God would work to convict them of their sin. That God would use your example, and that's why it's important for you to be a godly person. That He would use your example as a way of challenging them. And pray that God, through these things and through the message that your spouse hears at church, will come to faith. If they don't attend church, you should be praying that they will attend church and that something will happen in the course of daily life that will prompt them and move them to start coming to church. Some of you may have children. Those children may still be young, they may be teenagers, they may be grown up and left home. Regardless of their age, you should be remembering them in prayer. And the main thing for which you should be praying is for your children's salvation. Pray that God would bring to their minds things that they have been taught in their youth. Pray that God would challenge them, especially when they get to the age of being in their mid to late teenage years or older and leave home and beginning to work out a life for themselves. It's so easy at that stage in life for your children to go off the rails spiritually. Pray that God would bring them to Himself, and keep praying. And keep praying no matter how discouraging the circumstances might seem. Augustine, who lived around the 5th century, Augustine, his mother Monica, prayed for him for 30 years. Eventually, he was converted and he became one of the greatest leaders in the post-apostolic church. So keep on praying for your loved ones, for your husband, for your wife, for your son, for your daughter. And in other circumstances, pray for your parents. Perhaps you yourself are a Christian, but your parents are not Christians. Pray for them. Pray also for wider members of your family circles. Perhaps you have brothers, sisters, perhaps you have nieces, nephews. Pray for them, that God would work. Yes, there are other aspects of their life for which you will pray as well. Your own children, as they grow up, you'll be praying that God will help them to develop physically, mentally. He'll help them at school, help them with friendships. All of these things will of course come up. And it's right and proper to pray for them. Brethren, we ought to be people who saturate our families with prayer. Over the years, I have been so thankful that I have been able to bring specific situations concerning our children, concerning our family, to God in prayer. And if you are praying for your family circle, God will answer. Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened unto you. Pray for your families, and pray with this resolve: as for me and my house, Lord, our desire is that we will serve the Lord. May God bless these thoughts to your hearts today. Amen.